Good morning, you mateys. It's the morning DNA for February 28th, 2022. My name's Aaron Deutsche, the man of a single black shirt. She is Danae Hughes, the woman of a million distractions, and we're here to find out what today is made of, matey.
What is happening to you?
I turned into a pirate. I don't know. Is it Talk Like a Pirate Day? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Who knows? Somebody just requested it, so, you know, I assume maybe it's Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Request. That was entirely shocking, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure what was happening.
You're not sure you survived it?
No, that was great. That was amazing. You did great. That was an awesome impersonation of a pirate.
Oh, I appreciate it. Man, it's been a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You doing okay?
Hey, will you do me a favor and tap your mic?
Me?
Mm-hmm. Okay, just want to make sure.
You sound a little quiet to me, but, you know.
You sound a little quiet to me, too. Let's check in with our audience and make sure that they also are.
As long as you guys can hear what we're saying, everything should be kosher. So, let us know in the comments. Yes.
Yeah, I'm good. I've been traveling. You've been traveling. We've been traveling.
Yes.
And so there's always stresses related to that. But I'm back. I've spent the last couple of days reacclimating to life in the house and with the child and doing laundry. And I think I am missing 3 items from traveling for 2 weeks across 3 cities. So not too bad.
How many? 3? You lost 3 things?
3, yes.
Do you know the exact 3 things?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. My Apple AirPods gone.
No!
When last I saw them, they were at the airport. I don't know if they fell on the floor, if I missed it. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's confusing, but there it is.
Well, they were free, so, you know.
They were free, but I really liked them, and that means that I kind of want to replace them. But I won't, because I technically have another pair of earbuds that technically works, but they're not my favorite, which is why I was excited to have a replacement. Anyway, so that's a big bummer.
Yeah.
A gray sock and a black sock are the other 2. I don't know how that happened.
Couldn't have been the same sock.
Couldn't have been the same
Had to be
sock.
one of each.
Yeah. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's. I think upon returning, that's all I'm missing, which is actually really good when you think about all the things I've did. I stayed at a family member's house in one city. We took a car to the next city where I visited more people. Took a car to the next city, took a taxi into the next city, and then tooled around. And then the last one was New York. So we tooled around New York for days, and changed hotels, went to 2 different hotels. So that's a lot of packing and moving and packing and moving. So to only be missing 2 socks and earbuds, which technically made it to the airport, the very last stop. Pretty good.
Well, they probably just felt so at home at the airport since they're AirPods, and they were like, "This is where we live.
Yeah,
we live in the airport because we."
And
are the
good
AirPods.
luck to them. I hope they find happiness, and that the person who discovers them doesn't have that odd feeling of this was in someone else's ear. I can't, because they're great. Love them, use them, enjoy them. They were wonderful for me.
Yeah.
For that short time.
Yeah, it is one of those things. I was just seeing who was it? Running buddies, Matthew and Alan, say, "No, I lost an Apple Watch in O'Hare last year, but it was found and returned to me under my breath for $49." So yeah, I've had that thing too where. So I have a Chromecast that I travel with, which, if you don't know what that is, you basically just plug it into your TV and you can watch stream stuff through it. That kind of stuff. Yeah, through Wi-Fi. And it's an older Chromecast, and I left it at a resort plugged into the TV. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we've got it here. We'll send it back to you for $50 or whatever." I'm like, you can buy it for $25. Why
would they charge $50?
I don't know. Just for shipping, just covers their shipping and handling costs. I don't know. I'm like, keep it. I'll get a new one. It's fine.
Yeah.
AirPods though, that's a little more expensive.
Yeah. And they were like the new AirPods too. Anyway, but that's great.
Yeah.
I think about that because I just found it out, but I forced myself to remember all the fun things that just happened over the last, I was traveling for just under 12 days. So I've been gone from my environment for long enough that I started a new routine. So It was kind of like a nice little brain reset, but I had such a good time and I have so many really fun memories to think about. So that's what I'm going to choose to spend my time thinking about. The loss of earbuds, blah, especially since I didn't pay for them and they were free. Blah, I can get over that. I'll spend my brain space replaying my favorite moments. So yeah, I'm doing really, really good.
It Don't Connect has the next Pixar movie pitch coming soon. A film about the AirPods being separated from each other in the airport and finding each other once again. From Pixar comes Pod Life.
Pod life.
I don't know.
It's a pod life. Nope.
Nope.
That's not right. How are you though? Because we see that you are shaved, which means you have hit some sort of a weight goal, right?
Yeah, Jagged says, Aaron shaved. Yes. So this happened the day of my son's wedding. So I got to be all clean shaven in the wedding pictures.
Whoa.
But I hit my next
goal hit.
15.
That's nice.
And it was nice. I'm ready to let it grow again. Ready to hit the next 15. My next one will be my 1, 2, 3, so to carry the 1, 30, 45. Will be my third set of 15 pounds lost. So I'm heading up towards. Next time I shave, I'll be almost at 50 pounds down. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah,
Way
thanks.
to go.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Yeah, you sent a picture, and when we looked at it, it was like, I don't think I'm ready to see Ian's. I was with Ian, and Ian looked at it and said, I don't think I'm ready to see Aaron's face. I kind of got
a
used to
common
the
reaction in this world.
It did come off a little strangely. I was like, no, that's his face. I've seen it so many times, and of course, Ian has a beard, so
Yes,
he was
yeah.
all for the beard.
No, I haven't minded growing the beard and kind of shaping it and trimming it and those kind of things, but I prefer clean shaven. For me, there's just something. This is interesting because this is not true. This is the opposite of true, but this is how I feel. Okay. I feel more natural when I'm clean shaven, which is so weird because it's the opposite. The beard is natural, but it feels more. I don't know what it is. Maybe natural is the wrong word.
Well,
Clean?
it's what you've done.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's what you've done. Well, you
It feels
spent
more
the
me,
first
I guess.
like big chunk of your life without a beard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like guys just have beards straight out the womb. So for the first long while, it is just your naked face, and then you get. When did you start growing a beard? I'm just curious, as a beardless person. Does it just start?
Like when did I start getting
puberty
facial
too?
hair? Yeah. Same time you're getting
Mm-hmm.
armpit hair, all that body hair comes around the same time. So
That's so crazy. Oh, there are certain things that I wish I could do, like if I could gender swap, for sure. But I think the maintenance of a beard would be a pain in the butt.
Yeah, no, it's.
I wouldn't want to do that.
It's not
Would you
bad.
ever laser your hair off of your face?
If
'Cause they can do that, right?
if there was something inexpensive that was like permanent hair loss, done forever, you can never grow a beard again. Yes, I think I would. Yeah, I'd actually probably laser all my body hair except for my head. I'm not a big hair guy, so yeah.
I really like this message from Chris Batkinson. It technically also more natural to not clip your nails, but I wouldn't recommend it.
See, fair.
Yeah. I'm really liking your guys' chat. Guys, it's good to see you.
It is. It's so good to catch up with everybody.
On the traveling, I thought, well, do we try? But it's just such a different experience. It'd be more like a check-in, like a hey, here we are. So
we've yet to try it.
Yeah.
Maybe we will someday. Maybe we will some Monday when we're traveling. See what we can do. I had the check-in from the weird kind of check-in from LA a month ago or so, where you kind of hopped on and then I just kind of joined from where we were in LA. Like I think it's possible, and maybe it's something we can do, but it's just not something we've done yet. So.
Doc says, I started growing a Van Dyke goatee when I was in the hospital recovering from gallbladder attack in 2010, and now I look weird without one. So I had to go look at what that was. So for those of you guys that don't know, this is a Van Dyke beard, apparently. Why is it called a Van Dyke beard? We don't know.
So the Van Dyke is basically a goatee where you shave between the mustache and the goatee.
Oh, it's like
So
a little
it's a more pronounced,
separator?
there's a more pronounced mustache to it. So
That looks pretty cool.
yeah.
I mean, you just have to have fun with it, right? Like,
So that Robert Downey Jr. picture, that's actually not a Van Dyke. That is what's known as an extended goatee.
okay, we're done.
Well, I know because I studied this to figure out kind of what I wanted to do. An extended goatee looks best for the way my hair grows. And basically, you just take the goatee and then you kind of extend it out, and then you trim everything else shorter, like the beard length shorter. So it just emphasizes kind of a
Man,
goatee kind of thing.
that's crazy to me because you have to really, really be confident in your shaving skills.
I mean, you just use a trimmer. It's not hard. You have a 3mm and a 5mm, and I don't know.
I once spent 2 hours putting hair dye in someone's hair because I was so particular about making sure that everything was done correctly.
Sure.
So I feel like if I had facial hair, it would just be like, I would be so.
You mean if you had more
concerned.
facial hair?
I do have facial hair. That is true. I've had a couple of very alarming additions, which apparently weren't really additions. They were just growing secretly, and then they just like made themselves known one day. I'm like, how did I get this gigantic cable on my chin? Where did it come from? Overnight? I don't like this.
It's kind of like when every once in a while I look in the mirror and I'll be like, why is there a random inch-long hair growing like on my cheekbone up here? You know,
Where did
it's
those
like,
come
where
from?
did you come from, buddy? Like, what are you doing?
Exactly. Such a strange thing. Anyway, we're talking
is.
about facial hair. So we hope you guys are well. We have missed you. And we're back to our regularly scheduled programming. So we'll be releasing our podcast again weekly for the podcast listeners, and obviously streaming out again. So we're very much looking forward to spending time with you guys this morning. We do have a packed day because this is the first day back to our work week, back from traveling. It wasn't exactly a vacation. It was like a workcation, fun and play all in one sort of a thing. But we have a big day today.
Yeah.
So we can't hang out long, unfortunately. So let's jump into our topics today. What do you think, Aaron?
Let's do it. We will get into the DNA and U, and we'll do a D topic. That's an A topic, an A topic. That's an Aaron topic, and U topic, all the U topics you want. Danae, I don't know if you saw this, but after whatever the last time we were on, I was like, I wish they had a way you could star comments.
Yeah.
They have a way you can star comments now.
No
So
way.
if you look to the right, there's a upper right hand corner. You can star any comment, and then it'll save it in the starred tab.
Shoot, no, this is exciting.
So
Woo!
now
No, day's day. It's a brand new day. I'm super excited.
my question is, can you see what I've starred? Like, do you have a starred tab up there with one starred in
I
it?
do.
All right, so there you go. So we can save
Okay.
anything we want to do for the U questions now. So if you have something you want to ask us,
Oh my gosh,
throw it
this is
in there. We
exciting.
will start and we will get to it later. So isn't this great? It was like, I almost feel like I manifested it.
Yeah,
I
that was
literally
oddly
just
timed.
mentioned this.
100%. That was oddly timed.
yeah.
Jagged, just to answer your question quickly, it was not mandatory work fun. It
No.
was work while travel, and there was some work involved. So yeah, we're dorks over here. We're excited about anything. Anyway, okay. So my
Yes,
topic today is based on my travel. I got a chance to go to several museums as I went to New York and Washington, D.C. So I visited some of my favorite museums that I've visited before and a new one as well. And I just wanted to know what exhibits you guys like to stop and stare at, like which ones you could get completely lost in. Now, like a Smithsonian, obviously they're huge and there's exhibits everywhere and you can stop and you can read everything and spend days if you read every single plaque that was in front of you. But they have like little subsections of interest. So for me, it's gemstones and geodes and minerals and all that
I
stuff.
saw this firsthand.
I could look at that stuff. I could read about it for so long, but mostly it's looking because I find it fascinating that the earth just creates these
Blings.
incredible things. In fact, there's one that I actually decided to get at the little store. Like the earth creates perfectly symmetrical cubes. What?
The Earth didn't do that. Somebody polished that.
No, this is an actual This is an actual geode.
No, come on.
I know, it's mind-boggling
Come
stuff.
on.
So there's all these amazing things that are like our universe, our world, our Earth can create. There's also a whole subsection. Specifically, I was at the Museum of Natural History in DC for their geode collection, and they also had a section on like meteors, and so you got to see actual things that fell from space and read about where they came from. I love that stuff. I can get lost in it. There's like two parts to it too. There's the visual getting lost for me, and then there's the reading about it getting lost for me. And there are many things I could get tripped up on for reading about. They had a lot of really, really cool stuff on dinosaurs, for example, on a couple of them where I stopped and actually read about why this display. I mean, obviously I'm staring at a full T-Rex. This was in New York at the Museum of Natural History. They have one of only a handful of completed T-Rex fossil.
And it comes to life at night, I hear.
Yeah. And it was actually the bones. It wasn't a recreation. So you don't know.
It was the
unless
actual,
yeah, you don't know unless you stop and you read it, what it actually is. Like, people look at it and like, oh, that's a T-Rex, cool, and they just sort of like look and move on. But if you don't read the plaque, you don't realize that there's only a handful of them in the entire world. They're one of the most incredible the huge apex predator, but there's only a few completed skeletons that have ever been found, and most of them are replicas if you see them somewhere. But that particular one in New York was the actual bones, which really just made it even more terrifying, to be honest with you. It was so scary. But anyhow, so I just kind of want to know what you guys think about like where you could get lost.
It is important to read those plaques, right? I'll give you an example from when we went to the Met, which is what I'll talk about here in a second in New York. One of the statues, this full statue, sculpture, right? Of this man, and then you read the plaque, and it has a little picture of the parts of the statue that are original and the parts that they had to recreate. And the original parts of this statue were the feet and ankles. That's all. And then they recreated the rest of the body. I'm like, this is just a replica. It's like, yeah, but these feet and ankles, buddy, those are old. Just put the feet and ankles up there. I don't understand.
It's like, oh, this amazing sculpture that the original part is only this left toe. It's sort of like when you watch a movie and you're like, this is based on a true story. And then you go and you read the true story later and you're like, it just happened in France. And that was it,
Yeah.
Oh, you guys have a lot of really good ones. Let's read them. This one's from JCD, who says, Air and Space Museum is up there for me. The whole of the Smithsonian, right? I could spend days at the NASA Center in Florida and Houston as well. Those are so fun. The Air and Space Museum was closed when we were there, so we could go in there. And there was some disappointment in our group because there was a couple of displays that we were really excited to see. But there's always next time. So, yeah.
Yep.
The Egyptian Museum. There's an entire Egyptian, basically wing at the Met. In New York, which we also went to go see. Mind blowing to see, like, just for me, it was like, I love the beadwork and the jewelry and seeing how they intricately created these, incredible things. Mind blowing stuff.
Lolly says, next visit back to the UK, I need to go to the National Pencil Museum. It's been a long time goal, cool. And I never got around to it.
I love that. I love that so much. I want to go also. Add that.
Matthew says, so in the past I had the privilege to go to a Jim Henson exhibit at the Museum of Moving Pictures in New York City. I think I was there for about 4 hours. I am now jealous that I didn't realize there was a Museum of Moving Pictures in New York City. That would have been amazing.
There is, and we tried to go and they're closed right now.
Oh, well then that makes me feel better. That makes me feel better.
So we did try to go there. I would have been really bummed too if I realized that there was a Jim Henson one, because I love Jim Henson, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm basically a living Muppet, I'm pretty sure.
It Don't Get Next says a museum in my city has a Science of Pixar exhibit that I need to go see. +1, please. +1.
JCD says, oh, for the minerals, I have photos of rocks that are glowing under UV light. I need to see if I can find it and send it on. I saw that display. That's what I'm talking about. Like this stuff just exists naturally. There's this one particular place. It's like a darker corner of the museum, and they are showing these, stones that have kind of brighter colors, sort of flecked and flexed through them, and sort of merged in there. And then the UV light comes on, and they glow. It's mind-boggling. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's so cool. Lots of good stuff.
Real Monkey says hard to pin down, but aviation is probably most interesting to me. I've been to some really good aviation museums. Aviation is so fascinating too. I mean, I think about it every time I get in a plane. I'm like, we are really high up. This
in a
is
steel
the
metal
legit
tube.
tech.
Yeah. Jagged says, have you ever watched an underwater tank with river otters? Because we lost about 30 minutes just watching them swim and play. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, otters are so fun. They're basically like puppies of the water.
Lolly says, I love small bizarre museums. Next time I'm over near Blackfoot, I need to see the Idaho Potato Museum.
Okay. I'm all for potato. I love potatoes, so I think I want to go on a Lolly museum hop. Lolly,
I agree. I'm down for it.
Lolly, let's go. Chris says 2 things. The Natural History Museum / Biodiversity Center in my city also has a complete T-Rex fossil. That's so cool. And there's a museum theme park in town close by that has exhibits of replica villages through various ages of humanity. Both are awesome places to hang out all day long. There was a display. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to kind of change the subject, so go ahead.
Oh, there was this display that was in the Met where they had excavated like a tomb, and the Egyptians who lived at that time, I didn't read all the plaques, forgive, but they had created like these little, what are they called, Aaron? Like what are they called when like you create like it's not like, it's like a diagram, but it's with
Diorama?
Diorama. They had created all these like dioramas essentially of life then, and they had put them into this tomb, and so they were on display, and you really got this like 3D snapshot back into their lives. It was like them fattening up cattle and then slaughtering cattle, wheat, creating like the food that they would need to sustain life. Then they had like a garden also, and on the walls they were displayed a huge blown up picture, black and white photo that they had taken of when they opened up the tomb and they found these items. It was just like, I don't know, like you're looking at this relic, you're inches away from it, thinking about how long it's been preserved. It's mind-blowing
insane
stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that the dioramas show like a snapshot into the past, because unless it's on picture or written somewhere that lasts, this is just another way for us to see history. And it's really mind-boggling to be in a museum like that.
I agree. I was going to kind of focus in on what Chris said about hanging out somewhere all day. And that's the feeling I got at the Met, was just like, literally I could come here 3 days in a row and do like 2 wings every day and be there 8 hours all 3 days. It's just, there's so much.
We got in
see.
there, and Aaron. So Aaron is the kind of guy, when he goes someplace, he opens up the app that accompanies where we are. So if we're at a theme park, he opens up the theme park app. So here we are at the Met. He opens up a map, goes to the website and finds like the map of the Met, and then he'll follow our path. He's like, okay, here's where we are, and if we want to do this, and like he'll kind of like plot things around. And there were so many times that Aaron was like, this place is huge. This place is bigger than I ever imagined it to be.
It really is. My answer to the question would be probably art, probably paintings.
Yeah.
I find paintings to be absolutely mind-blowing, that somebody can capture reality or emotion with oil on canvas. Is really impressive to me. And so I'm that kind of like art person who will look at, the Dutch masters and just go, how did you do this self-portrait? So I find all that stuff really, really impressive. And then modern art, I like a lot of modern art as well, where it's like, what does this mean? Why did you put this together? What's the interpretation here? Like that kind of stuff is fun for me too. So Some of the
Yeah.
modern stuff was really good.
There's a comment here from I'm so far back in chat, so I've got to scroll here. Wick Doc says, I like getting really close to painting to see the brush strokes.
Yes.
But then I get afraid I'm going to mess one up. Yeah. Yeah, you're
Well, don't
right
touch
there.
it.
You're right there. But
As long as you don't touch
it.
it.
Oh, I'm with you there. There's a couple times I was watching Aaron lean in and I'm like, there was a particular painting that
I only licked one painting.
That's
Listen,
true.
it's, you know,
That's true.
I was good.
That's true. The alarms were really not that impressive, actually.
It was a lollipop. What did they expect? It looked so real.
The most disturbing part is you could actually see all the layers of paint that had already been licked off by other people, and he was just like, I'm just joining in.
Yeah, it's not like we're in the middle of a pandemic or anything. You know,
No.
Everything's
There
fine.
was a couple paintings that were so impressive. Well, you think how long that paint's lasted? How long it's been there, and that they did such a great job of picking up light. The way that some of the fabric was created, it's just it's
Well, that's
good
one of the beautiful things about oil paintings is that the varnish just locks that vividness into place for centuries. Like oil on canvas, once it's varnished, is like a miracle. It's just a miracle, and it's crazy how alive those paintings feel. So yeah.
Wow, you guys have some really, really fun ones in here.
Yeah.
But I think we kind of made it through. Here's one from No Clue who says the Duchess Museum? Deutsche Museum in Munich. I always love to scroll around the air and space section.
Nice.
You guys really like your air and space. Any exhibit, says Castref, any exhibit relating to computing or the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Yeah, lots of good stuff in here, guys. Great topic.
Yeah, there's always these places that we can kind of get lost. But I feel like when you go into when you go on to like an adventure and you go to a museum, it just takes you out of your world just enough to remember that like there are certain pieces of art or there are certain things that have just impacted our time so deeply, and here we're preserving them and putting them on display.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really would love to visit more museums. Just kind of make it a thing.
I agree.
Oh, here's one from No Clue too. I stayed at the Statue of David by Michelangelo in Florence for over an hour. It was so amazing. We had to stand in line for hours. Most people just walked around and left. I would love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Michelangelo's
love to see
David.
that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
JCD ends this by saying, so what I've learned with this question is that I have many vacations to plan.
So this is the feeling, right? This is the feeling when you go to a big city, is that it's like there's so much here that so many museums, like where we were staying a couple blocks away was the AKC Dog Museum, right? Like we didn't go to it, but we very easily could have.
There was a math museum.
Mathematics museum.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just there's so many opportunities to go see cool things around, and that's kind of what got me thinking of my topic, because I was having this debate with myself. What is it about a big city that makes it fun? And so I just thought maybe any big city stories you have, things where you went to a big city and something happened. But for me, like I think of, why do I choose to live in a smaller type city than a big city? And the answer for me is probably very unfortunately practical, cost of living.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's so insane, the difference in cost of living. But the big city story I have from this time is I went to see Music Man with Hugh Jackman. We all did, but I went on a different night than everybody else. So I went by myself because I had the wedding on the night that most of them went to see Music Man. And so I decided to call my wife for the walk home to the place that we were staying. And I just remember my friends got very, very scared that I hadn't checked in with them.
Why would you not? You've gone all by yourself. You're out there in New York City. The show is supposed to have ended, and we felt like old people afterwards. Like at least I did. I was like, I'm like, like an old mom, like, honey, you didn't call. You didn't call when you left. Blah blah blah.
Lolly says, when we went to Rome, it was the year Pope John Paul II died. We joined the wrong queue and ended up lining up to visit his grave.
Ooh,
No.
and that's an odd one
Accidental-
to try to get out of. You know what? I just realized where we're at, so we're just gonna go.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. What are some of your favorite stories, Danae, from the big city visit or several big city visits that you did over the past couple weeks?
Man, you know, so like this brings me back to even just my first time visiting a big city. I remember when I was I think I was like 16. I had gone on vacations with my mom and dad, obviously, and I know we had gone to some larger cities from my hometown. And so I'm sure I went to some large cities that just didn't realize. Like I've been to Houston, for example. Those are big cities, but I didn't have that feeling of being part of a huge crowd until a friend took me to St. Louis for the first time. And he's like, I'm going to take you into a part of the city where you are the minority. And I was like, okay. And he says, I want you to feel what it feels like. And so he did. He took me into a neighborhood that he grew up in. And I was the only white person. I didn't see another white person for 2 or 3 hours. And it was a really amazing experience. And we just talked about like how I felt to be, you know, I don't know, just so different and so outside of my comfort zone. And it was such a large part of the city that like I just disappeared. It was like I wasn't comfortable in the ways that I thought that I like. It was just a very odd experience, but it was really eye-opening. And that was one of my first big city experiences that was really shifting in an eye-opening way. But the first time I went to DC, it was with like a school group. I still didn't really understand how amazing big cities are because you're just a kid. So I went in my early 20s with my cousin, and man, just walking around and seeing all the different people, hearing people talking different languages was really fascinating to me because, you know, like on my corners, on my streets, it's like, hey, how you doing today? You know, but all of a sudden you're hearing like on one corner in one part of this tiny space, you're hearing 3 different conversations in different languages. And you're just kind of realizing people from all over the world are converging onto this one, you know, this one corner of the universe. And I happen to be here too. It's just a mind-boggling experience. I love that. I feel like there's lots of stories. There's lots of places I've visited. There's lots of like little things I could talk about. But I think when I think about being in a big city, it's just like my place in the world shifts. My purpose kind of shifts a little bit. I'm just part of like this big machine instead of being like here at my house, I'm the center of the universe, so to speak, where I'm mom, I'm doing all these things. Like, you know, there's very few people interacting with me, but when you're in a big city, you know, you're really just part of a huge network and you see it with your own eyes instead of just knowing it in your mind.
Some good stories coming in. Acres Ridge says, my best fun, quote unquote, big city story. First plane ride, first big city visit as a country boy, flew to New York for work training. The lady who was supposed to pick me up asked how to find me on the curb, and I said, I'm the only moron out here in overalls and a John Deere hat. Pure culture shock.
Oh my God.
I was 26.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Let's see. Wydock says, when I was 14, my uncle and I went to DC. We were talking back to our hotel from the National Mall one night and got propositioned by a prostitute. Both of us. I was 14.
My gosh.
That does remind me of my first trip to New York City. I was just a kid. My family went, and we went to Times Square, as you do. But when I was a kid, Times Square was really seedy. Like, I don't know if you know kind of the history of that area, but like it was all like XXX theaters and, you know, all this kind of stuff was what Times Square was before it's what you know it as today.
Which is a billboard.
And so I just remember the looks on my parents' faces. I just what are we doing here? What have we gotten ourselves into? As person after person is handing them pamphlets for the local strip show or whatever. And I vividly remember one of them being like, "Yeah, bring the kids."
It's a family affair.
It's a family show. It's a family show.
Castro says, in high school, we did a week-long road trip through New England historical sites. At one point, we stopped in Times Square for dinner. Almost everyone went to McDonald's or some other fast food place, but I convinced my friends to walk a little ways off and find a nice local bodega instead. It was really, really good. Also, on the way back, we met a really pushy promoter for a nearby
Comedy
club. I'm like, a Goatee? Comedy club.
Yeah.
We were all underage, but he still made a point of advertising a deal on drinks there. Yeah, come in and get some drinks. That was an interesting part of, New York. You've got the people who are on the streets doing their own thing. So when you're in Times Square now, one of the big things is you've got people who are like, I will take your picture in this epic way here in this epic place and send it to you for money. What a great idea. And then Aaron's like, but wait, the Pixel phone.
I do like finding the New York specific restaurants, right? You're there and there's so many of them. We went to just a little hole in the wall diner across from where we were staying, and it was so great.
Oh,
it was
so good.
So good.
Yeah.
And our server was so New York and was just like I ordered a ham and cheese omelet, and she was like, "No, you're not doing the ham. You're doing sausage."
I think she said no. She was just like, no.
Yeah.
And she was all sassy about it. It was great. Yeah, that's something too. While I was traveling, is to try to look at local places. We went to a place called Essa Bagel, which is apparently a really popular bagel place in New York. I think we got there 10:30, and there was an S line in the building, and then there was a line out the building and down the around the kind of going down the block, and we just sort of stopped and looked at each other yeah, no. I mean, it's a bagel, right? Or quote unquote Essa Bagel. Bagel. We went back around 3 and got a bagel, and you know what? It was a bagel. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's the experience of there's these huge bagels. So when you're in New York, that's important. But anyway.
Yeah.
Here's one from Jagged. When we were living in Tokyo and I was 11 or 12, I had to take the late bus home, and my parents weren't there to pick me up. They went the wrong stop. So I had to figure out where the subway was and take it home. Oh my gosh, on my own. It took me almost an hour to get home, and it was scary, but I made it.
Nicely done, Nick.
Oof. That would be so scary. That's one of the things I was really glad is I had a travel buddy. Because we went down into the subway, which is another big city experience. It was one of the second or third thoughts that I had to answer this question. Aaron was like, getting around in a big city is it's a thing. DC has their own metro system, and New York City has their own metro system, and figuring all of that out and just trying to look at a puzzle on the wall and go, okay, I'm here, and now I need to extrapolate information to get here. How do I do that? So it can be kind of intimidating.
Yeah, there's just so much fun stuff to do, It's interesting. I think in Chicago, I went to school, college near Chicago, and did many trips up into Chicago, which I think is the third largest city in the country, next to New York and LA. And it was really fun to find these. We found this thing, and it's not that it's not known. People know about this, but it's called Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind. And it's basically this series of silly sketches, but everything about the show is determined by the roll of dice. So the amount you pay for your ticket is determined by a dice roll at the door. And then the order they go in is determined by that kind of stuff. It's just kind of these interesting experimental, fun little shows, and you don't get that in smaller cities, you know?
No, not at all.
So, yeah.
What a great question. Well, guys, we're going to go on to the last part of the show today, where we ask you guys a question. You can ask us any question, anything goes. We don't always answer every question, but we will try. We've been starring your questions as we've been going. So we have a few that are already loaded up, but feel free to drop yours in the chat now if you have a question for us. It can be, again, about anything.
Yeah. All right. Let's go with this one. Greg says, have either of you had a Shamrock Shake yet from McDonald's?
No.
I haven't yet. I have not this season, at least. I've had
No.
one before. Have you ever had one today?
No.
Does that not sound interesting to you?
Nope.
I mean, it's mint. Do you not like mint things?
No, I like mint. I just
It's just at McDonald's.
it's
That's
so
the
much
problem.
sugar. Yeah, there's just I'm such a weirdo when it comes to sugar. I've worked
Well,
for
you also have the
years
lactose
and
thing.
years and years at just not having a ton of sugar. And so there's just certain places I know if I get a drink, it's just going to be pure sugar. So yes, I love mint, but I also can't have shakes. So this wouldn't be one for me, but I know it's really popular.
It's fine. I'm not a huge fan.
Fine.
Like flavor shake, I have one love. And that is the Chick-fil-A peach shake that happens every summer. So that is my shake of choice.
I'm just learning about this new system, and I think I accidentally got rid of one. So sorry about that, but we'll go with this one. It Don't Connect says, punny cosmetic names, yay or nay. I just bought nail polish called Celestial. 100% yes. Yeah, I think you have to have fun. If your job is to name product like crayons or markers or anything that's like colored, you've got to have fun with it. Otherwise, it's just going to be teal, lighter teal, even lighter teal. So for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I think pun names are always the best choice in almost any situation in life. It's fun. Wordplay is fun.
Here's one from Greg. I'm going to a Bible school right now, and it is okay to be a skeptic or a static about some of the teachings here. How do you best approach Bible teachers or professors or pastors with constructive criticism or questions?
Ooh, well, I mean, first of all, Bible teachers, professors, and pastors are different things. Like there are different situations. Like if it's a pastor, I don't know. That's a little bit different than if you're in a class. I feel like if you're in a class and your professor is saying things, you should be in an environment where that kind of thing is wanted, like, questions and learning and education, depending on the college, I guess. It was for my environment. I don't know. But yeah.
There might be context clues about the kind of environment that you're in if there is a discussion. Now, if they're just trying to teach and say, this is how it is, don't ask questions, then I think that the door is closed for constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is interesting. If the person isn't open to it, then, you're going to be having a conversation with somebody who's just checked out. But I know that there's often topics, especially when it comes to religious topics, that people get really passionate about defending or trying to give a different perspective so that there's a chance for like a breakthrough. And those are really beautiful chats that might not happen inside of the classroom. So you might do something where if it's something that you really, really want to press into a professor because you're teaching the quote unquote wrong thing, or I would love for you to have a different perspective while you're educating. That would be a conversation. Maybe invite them for lunch, or just take them outside of that environment where they are the teacher or they are the the head, and try to meet them kind of in more of a neutral place. This was actually one of the reasons I didn't want to go to college. At the time, whenever I was college age and sort of ready to go, I was way too argumentative, way too
Man, that's what college is for.
No, in my experience, adults didn't want to hear what I had to say for so long that
Sure.
I was
You
over
couldn't
it.
perceive that would be different in a different environment. Yeah.
And that's not even my perspective about school now. I don't see
Right.
it as a conversation. I see it more as like you're going to learn this, and this is the way that it is. And maybe I'm wrong about that, but I had, different ways of, going through my
I will tell you.
I would just say be cautious, because if they're not open to constructive criticism, it will come off potentially the wrong way. Questions are probably a better approach, I feel like, especially if there's other students around. Just clarifying questions rather than criticism. That's just my opinion.
I was very fortunate. I had not only college professors who were all about conversation, all about challenge and communication, that kind of stuff. I had high school teachers. Even my high school religious teacher, because I went to a Christian high school, was all about question it, dig into it, figure it out. There's an interesting conversation going on in faith communities right now about deconstructing your faith. There's a growing group of people who believe it is wrong to deconstruct your faith when it deals with things like biblical things, that kind of thing. And man, I just can't get on board with that. Like, always be questioning. The truth doesn't fear questioning. If it's the truth, you will find the truth. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with using logic and thought to really dig into what you believe. And if that changes what you believe, good. That's the search for truth. Like, that is, that is what we're all trying to do together, is find this journey to what is true and what is real. And man, I'm all for deconstructing your faith. I'm all for tearing it down, figuring it out, building it up so that it's yours, understanding what you believe, why you believe it.
Especially if you're in a safe place to do so. And that's the
Correct.
part where you have to have a understanding yourself of like your level of safety. So for me, deconstructing my faith happened with my friends. It didn't happen in a school environment.
Yeah.
This one's from JCD. What is something you've done for the first time and found out something you didn't expect? This weekend, I was a DM for the first time ever in a D&D campaign, and afterwards I messaged one of my players in another campaign asking if it was normal to feel tired afterwards. It was a good type of tired.
Yes.
Oh
it is
my
normal.
gosh. This is a great one. Oof. I think streaming is going to be my quick answer. I want to think about this question a lot because I love this question. So, thank you for asking it, because this is kind of one I want to think about a lot, like something that you've done and you found out something you didn't expect. This happens probably all the time if you're really thinking about it. But for me, I think it was streaming. I was really, really freaked out to stream. But I think I was scared of a lot of the interfaces and it not looking like as good as other people's, or like that the expectation would be different. But I was encouraged by a lot of people to just stream whatever, like just start and don't worry about it. And so I've been really pleased that it's just sort of been like not a big deal in a way. Specifically, I'm talking about streaming my roleplay, which is the video game, and because it's such a weird, quote unquote, weird thing, although it's so much more accepted, now. And there's such a great group of people that really enjoy watching me improv a story. And I think I was a little bit too worried about that. So I think streaming that is one of the big ones for me right now.
Music is an interesting one for me, because there are times where I will try something with my voice, or like I played bass guitar for a while, like where I'll just try something new and I'll be like, oh, there's this part of me that really enjoys musicality, really enjoys rhythm, like that I just have turned off most of the time. And so that, that's something I've over the years have, embraced more and more, and experimenting, that kind of stuff. So that was the first thing that came to mind. But yeah, learning by trying new things is a lot of fun. So, yeah.
Favorite food on your recent trip? Man, that's one of
A lot of good stuff.
man, when I travel, that's one of my big things is I want to try different food. And there were a lot of options, obviously. I had a Peruvian chicken in DC with like this really yummy rice and black beans and plantains, and dulce de leche cake. Tres leche. There's 3. It was a 3-layer cake. Oh my gosh. It was so yummy. Sometimes it's like you just go along with the person. Yeah, I'll have what they're having because they've had it already. And just that means that 1, they're going to have extra if you don't like it. But 2, it's been tried before. You're just going to just jump in. And it was so delicious. And it's not something I would have normally ordered. Like I don't go to like Peruvian like places. So
Yeah.
it was really yummy. That's one of my favorites. But there was a lot. I'm skipping a lot because there was a lot of really good food.
Yeah, lots of good food. I find myself returning to the lobster mac and cheese that we had as a side at one dish that I really, really loved. That was really good. All the sides at that place were really, really good. And that's another fun thing about going to a restaurant with friends too is you kind of eat family style a little bit. Yeah, we all eat each other's food.
Yeah.
Well, not all. Some people don't do that, and that's fine. That's, totally okay.
But there's a conversation like, okay, I'm going to get this, or you're going to get that. Okay, we'll just try each other's.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
We have about 5 minutes, and we've got several questions here. I see a couple fun ones and then a serious one. Which one do you want to go to next?
Whatever. We can knock this off the plate. War, huh? What is it good for? I think absolutely nothing is the correct answer to that question. Tyler says, why don't young people listen? Also, great question.
Because they think they're right about everything.
Let's see. Jagged says, were there any surprises for you at last night's SAG Awards? I was super excited. The Coda won at the end of the night. The Coda win was great. The Jessica Chastain win was great as well. That was a surprise, and I wonder if she is more of a front runner than we think for the Oscar. So the SAGs are always interesting to check out. And then Lucas says, serious you question, have you ever dealt with stalkers? I ended a friendship with one person. And then I'm not sure where it goes after that. But
it says she continues to create fake profiles on the internet to keep an eye on everything I say and post. How to deal with such a situation. Okay. I have dealt with stalker before on a couple levels, 1 or 2 in person, and then just some more like infatuation online. I would do a couple of things, first of all. One is I would start to read up on what you can do to protect yourself online. And it is a harrowing and annoying and arduous process that requires the victim to do a lot of the work. And it really sucks, but at least just kind of prepare yourself to know. And the other thing is take screenshots. I know it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that once it's gone, it's gone. And just try to keep a profile or a file or something that you can just put them away. The hope is that this person just loses interest and it goes away. For me, it's just like, I don't want to have to deal with it. But then if it starts to tip over into certain territories, like they're trying to dox you or
invasion of privacy,
things like that, then you just want to have that. You want to have that trail of information that kind of shows your situation. It's not fun to be the victim that has to have the responsibility that you might have to have. And so I would also recommend joining some kind of a support group. So I know Facebook is awful and I don't have Facebook, but I do know that there's like groups there that you can lean on. And there's probably other places too that I'm not able to think of off the top of my head. Just the research is going to be important. If you're fearful for your safety, you need to get the police involved, get authorities involved as quickly as you possibly can, because it's a long process. And don't take it, don't just shrug things away if you feel like you're in danger. And danger to you might mean something different to someone else. So you need to kind of talk to people about it. So that's where the group comes in, or a counselor comes in, or somebody that you can talk to that can give you some really sound advice. I'm just sharing my own advice, but I'm not a professional in this area and I don't know everything. But you'll know if it's something that you need to take really super seriously, or if this is just like a silly little infatuation, someone that's like a troll that's just trying to like bother you. It sucks because people can kind of be whatever they want to be online, and they can be awful if they choose to be. Mm-hmm. I just block. That's my big thing. I don't have feelings about it. If someone starts to show some troll like tendencies on Twitter or wherever, I just block them. But that's not everybody's way of living. They kind of, so it's up to you. And I'm sorry that you have to go through this. This is not something that I would want anyone to have to go through. So thank you for asking about it, because it's not easy to talk about sometimes.
No, it's not. And I don't have much to add to what Danae said. Everything she said, I agree with. I would just re-emphasize to continue to keep your finger on the pulse of what this is, because currently it sounds like it's just internet stalking. Like I don't mean to to belittle
Belittle it.
internet stalking. That is a real thing, but it's more of the idea of just looking at your public posts, like those kind of things. When it starts to get into actions that are dangerous or invasion of privacy, that's when you kind of level up on your response to it. For now, I agree with Danae. Ignoring is probably the way to go, and hopefully they just get tired of trying to keep up with you or whatever. So yeah, it's a tough one though. I'm sorry you're going through that, for sure.
Any other last questions before
I didn't see any. I think we can wrap it up. We love you guys. We missed you. We're glad to hang out with you on Monday mornings. And we will be doing this. There are more trips coming on the calendar. We see them coming, but at least this week and next week we'll be with you. And then we'll figure out after.
More. The next few months are going to be a bit wild for us, but we'll let you guys know our schedule as best we can as it goes. We're going to be raiding into Sinat Bush because I want some chill vibes as I work today. So I hope the chat will join me there. It looks like he is sculpting an avocado monster today.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that.
We will see you on the next Monday or someday. As always, love you guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.